hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. Also, some of the backstage rumors, behind the curtain drama. We talk about promotions from the NWA, WWE, AEW, MLW, Stardom. If it makes professional wrestling news headlines, we talk about it here on the GSMC Sports Network, the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, first and foremost. So, guys, it's Thursday. We're just one more day away from the weekend next to our Friday. Obviously, tonight was the first, football game of the season, the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens are currently taking on the Kansas City Chiefs right now. So, and I think the score 10-20, I think it is. I think it might be. But overall, it's just great. It's great to have football back. Everybody is super excited, that the NFL is back. The NFL is obviously, king in terms of entertainment in the United States. Obviously they're trying to branch out to, trying to appeal to more of a international kind of audience, having their games in Germany. We have one in Brazil tomorrow, and of course, London, England. Enough about that. We're going to talk about some professional wrestling. On tap today, we're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite review. We have my Thursday night wrestling preview. We're going to talk about TNA Emergence and my reactions to the matches. We're also going to talk about Jordynne Grace's open challenge on NXT. Who could possibly be the person to answer? We're going to talk about some people that are likely, some people that are less likely, and some people that I don't want to see them answer, to be honest. Like, not trying to be mean, but, just for the sake of, both NXT and TNA, I feel like it'd be terrible for these, women superstars to challenge Jordynne Grace. And lastly, on Friday, on Thursday, I'm already getting too ahead of myself there. We're going to talk about the NWA. We're going to talk about their 76th anniversary show. They've been around for 76 years. That's crazy. Wow. It's like, you have the WWE and then you have the NWA that's been around towering. And, not much success has really come to the NWA ever since. You've kind of had it fall off a cliff once when, they had the partnership with TNA. And then, all of a sudden, a lot of the superstars went to WCW. They evolved to WWF, back then it was the WWF. But overall, I feel like it's a great place that a lot of superstars, kind of start their career in terms of professional wrestling. It's kind of like the college football professional wrestling, kind of like how I like to call it. But overall, I don't know. Overall, it was, it's pretty great, 1,010%. But let's go ahead and dig on into some content. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use that super chat, whether if you got a burning question or just something that you're dying to get off your chest. Here at GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely all ears. We want you guys to be part of the mix. We want you guys to not to feel shy. Send in your comment, send in your question. And, if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, hit up that super chat. It's that $ below the chat box to guarantee that your, whatever you post will be on the show, so we can talk about it and kind of dive in a little bit. It's always really fun when people do that. Obviously, your guys' super chats helps us keep the lights on in terms of keeping this podcast going, keeping this network going. So 1,010%. Thank you guys so much. We are grateful for each and every one of you guys who tune in daily at the GSMC Sports Podcast. So don't be shy and go in and send in. Go ahead and send in your chat. It makes things a hell of a lot better when there's a lot of back and forth, banter here in terms of professional, wrestling fans. That's the reason why wrestling fans, they love meeting other wrestling fans. I don't want to meet another wrestling fan and be like, I totally agree with you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I want you to be like, dude, you're crazy. You're crazy. So definitely 1,010%. Make sure you hit up that super chat, hit up those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is as fun, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat is not your thing, hit up tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. Obviously, feedback is a gift. So, I'm happy just to get some comments or questions from you guys. All right, so we're going to talk about our first segment, AEW Dynamite review. Overall, I thought it was decent. I thought it was a pretty good Dynamite. Obviously, it's so crazy how they had their, kind of how they had their, how they had their pay-per-views kind of back to back. You had All In, and now it's going to be All Out. But yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into some, AEW Dynamite. So Daniel Garcia out for blood for, MJF. That's not really much of a surprise. You knew that Dynamite was going to open with an angry Daniel Garcia. And what MJF says, it's obviously it is to a point where, it is choreographed, it's staged. But MJF, he does know how to push the envelope a little bit too much. Maybe a little bit of a personal kind of approach coming out of Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia is one of the youngest rising stars on the AEW roster right now. Although I still feel like I don't know if his contract came to terms. I still feel like it's kind of on the fence, like this, this maybe factor to it. But this is huge. This is going to be a great match at All Out on Saturday. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. And the crowd overall is really into it. They buy into both Daniel Garcia. They buy in to MJF. And I don't know. It's just right now for AEW. It's perfect. It's kind of the perfect way to kind of have these mid main card superstars that are battling it out, because I feel like overall, whoever wins at All Out is probably going to be the next one to challenge either Will Ospreay after the Bastard Pack, or most likely going to challenge, Brian Danielson if he makes it out of All In alive against the scapegoat. Why do I want to say Ethan Page? It's not Ethan Page. It's scapegoat Jack Perry. It's crazy. Next, we have a match between Kazuchika Okada and Kyle Fletcher. This was a great match. This was a really, really good match. Don Callis loves to come in and he loves to, be on commentary in terms of all of his superstars, but I feel for, where Kyle Fletcher's character is kind of going. Okada, I got to be honest, I was happy to see that his wrestling abilities are starting to come back. And I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. I'm not trying to seem like, I have a stick up my butt or anything like that. But ever since Kaz Okada, debuted in the AEW, became part of the Elite, the whole Rainmaker thing, which is it's dying. This whole Elite thing with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, it was dying. Tony Khan had to come back in. Christopher Daniels was fired by the EVPs. Then all of a sudden he went literally from the like being the worst position that that you can have at a job. You're fired, dude. And then the next day you show up as like a vice president. Like, I don't know. It's just it's a little mind boggling, but overall I just feel like it wasn't good for Okada. And Okada's no stranger of being in a wrestling promotion where it just doesn't fit. Where he started his career, and then he went to then he started wrestling the TNA a little bit. Absolute garbage. He was absolute garbage. Then he went to New Japan Professional Wrestling, found who he is. He's Mr. 5-star from Dave Meltzer. But this match was great. Overall, this match was amazing. It was good to see, kind of flashes of that, Okada. He still has it in him. He still has it in him. Honestly, they made me a believer at first. I kind of thought Okada was going to be like a little bit washed up, a little bit of like a, kind of like a circus act. You know what I mean? Because just the way he's been portrayed on AEW. Sorry, I get sweat in my eyes. On AEW, beating Eddie Kingston from the moment he signed with AEW, and I didn't really see any exponential growth in terms of what Kazuchika Okada had coming to him on Dynamite. But I don't know. It was good. It was pretty damn great. Kyle Fletcher, he's a rising star. He's still very, very young, but the Aussie was able to kind of, he was able to hang in there with Okada. Like that's, like one of those matches that you have in professional wrestling where you lose, but overall it seems like you kind of win here. And I feel like Kyle Fletcher is in a lot of those matches, which is great for his future. But yeah. But before the match, you saw Mark Briscoe gave a hilarious promo before the match, but obviously that's Mark Briscoe. The Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. He's just great. He's just great. Every single time he steps into the ring, when he fought against Kyle O'Reilly, he fought against Kyle Fletcher, and I was like, all right, this is it. No, this is it. And then he fought against the hot Beast Mortos, and I was like, okay, this for sure is it. The Beast Mortos just looks like some guy who can carry the Ring of Honor World Championship and just represent it proudly, especially for the Don Callis family. But he just keeps fighting. He keeps fighting through, and I know exactly why. He can carry the brand on his back. He can go out there and he can cut an amazing promo. He can get people that are sitting in their seats, eating their popcorn, drinking their soda, like, oh, okay. And Mark Briscoe comes out and starts talking. You're like, dude, like this guy's sick. I love that. And definitely that's a reason why I'm a huge fan of Mark Briscoe, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Next, we have a match between Robin Renegade and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter was overall, she was able to defeat Robin Renegade, but it was, to be honest, it seemed like it was, it was a little too short. I feel like, you had this person that came back at AEW All In. Obviously, they made a big deal about her, debut or scratch that, her return back to AEW. And all of a sudden in her matches, you want to start cutting her short. I don't know. That just doesn't really make clear sense to me. Robin Renegade, I feel like is, talented as hell as well. But I don't know. It was kind of crazy. And then the fans were, they get into it. The fans get into it when she comes out. And I don't know. It's just kind of. And then you saw a promo after the match. You saw John Moxley talking to Jack Perry, talking to him about being a sweet kid was actually kind of funny. I'm wondering if that was unscripted, if maybe that was improvised by John Moxley, because if it was, that's going to cause some trouble in the backstage. Jack Perry is not really the guy you can kind of joke around backstage. He has a huge chip on his shoulder, kind of has his head up his own rear end. The AEW, TBS champion, TNT champion, sorry. From what I've heard from reports, speculations. I've listened to the Busted Open podcast with what Bully Ray had to say about how Jack Perry, when he was in the locker room, you didn't really feel like he had the obligation to kind of introduce himself or talk to any of the other wrestlers. Just signs of respect, just signs of respect. And what happened between the whole CM Punk thing, hearing his side of the story, you could be a young prospect, but at the same time, you got to have respect. You got to 1,010%. You got to, hold respect for your opponents. And, I feel like right now, Jack Perry, he's not really kind of, into that, kind of boat here. All right, so moving on rapidly because we are running out of time on this segment. We had Mariah May taking on the Beast, the native beast, Nyla Rose. I love Nyla Rose. I love it that she every single time she steps inside the ring, either if it's Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, I just think she's awesome. The Glamour was able to score a victory with a Storm Zero. Definitely, poking fun at Tony Storm a little bit. Kind of, giving fans a reason to kind of cheer for Tony Storm and just overall kind of create this ability to kind of have this baby face that Tony Storm has kind of stepped on into. But overall, Mariah May was able to defeat her, which makes me think that because I had speculation saying that if Mariah May and Tony Storm was going to have this gruesome, back and forth battle and rivalry and blood and guts and all this other stuff, that she would have to lose the title, drop the title to Nyla Rose, who would represent the title pretty damn well on Dynamite, Collision, or Rampage, even on Ring of Honor, CMLL, also New Japan Professional Wrestling. But I don't know, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see Mariah May kind of step up a little bit. She's for sure being taken seriously, and that's all you really want to see. Next, we have Pac, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli taking on Will Ospreay, the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly. Overall, you saw the BCC and Pac defeat Ospreay in a conglomeration. I think heading into their match, it seems kind of fitting. You still, Will Ospreay is a hell of a competitor. He's come off a huge match defeating MJF. And, you had somebody like Pac kind of step up. Pac hasn't had that much success, in AEW besides winning a title shot. But overall, I just thought it was kind of crazy. And I love how Orange Cassidy, his lazy kind of persona. It's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. It's funny as hell. It's pretty cool. And, I don't know, I thought it was, kind of cool. Kyle O'Reilly definitely think could do, much better than where he's at right now. I feel overall that, he could challenge somebody like Jack Perry. He's honestly that damn good inside the ring. But, he's, just racking up losses after losses after losses. All right, and lastly, we're gonna talk about how that SOB, that monster, Hangman Adam Page lit the childhood house of Swerve Strickland on fire. I recently on my Wednesday show did a new segment on how he was so happy that he finally made a contract. He bought the house back for his mom. His mom was devastated when it foreclosed. Him as a young man wanted to do so damn much, but was not able to do anything because he didn't have the money. Now that he had the money, signed an amazing contract. And Hangman Adam Page lights it on fire. Like, it's just I don't know. It's I thought something was going to be something was going to be made out of this when you saw Swerve Strickland buy the house, but I don't know. It was it kind of came as a shock. I was like, dude, like it was like one of those like cliffhanger things on TV shows where you see like a shocking thing. For me, it was Game of Thrones. You see Eddard Stark being beheaded. You're like, holy shit, like that's crazy. All of a sudden, you wake up and you're like, damn, a lot of twists and turns in this program. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into my Thursday night wrestling preview. We're going to step into the ring of TNA. We're going to step into the world of Ring of Honor. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, talking everything in terms of professional wrestling on the GSMC Sports Network. So, make sure you tune in. Just going to reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our AEW Dynamite review, and now we're going to jump on into my Thursday night wrestling preview. We'll talk about TNA, also Ring of Honor. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to hit up that super chat. You got a burning question or a comment, or if you just want to, rattle up the cages a little bit of not just me, just everybody tuning in. We're going to talk about it on the chat. If you hit up that super chat because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is amazing. We make sure this show's amazing, it's because we just overall care about the overall product and the content that we share on the GSMC Sports Network. We definitely love each and every one of our fans, 1,010% people who subscribe. You could definitely subscribe to me. If you are, if you're a new wrestling fan, it's perfect. I talk about, reviews and previews, and I talk about major news wrestling, get into it, analysis, predictions, and we just have fun. We just have fun on this podcast, 1,010%. So yeah, once again, it helps us, kind of keep the lights on in terms of keeping the podcast alive, keeping the network going. We definitely need you guys. We love you guys. We are so thankful for each and every one of you guys. Obviously, we wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. But overall, hit up that super chat, hit up those super stickers because you guys are super awesome. Hit up that $ below the chat box. and send in your comment or question, and it's be guaranteed to be on the show. So let's do it. Let's make this show bigger. Let's make this show better, funner, friendlier, and just an overall bombshell. Because me and you, amazing team, amazing tag team here, man. We're like the angry, we're like the Wild Samoans. 16 times. Just kidding. But no, overall, as a tag team, we can kill it. We're gonna do great. So make sure you hit up the super chat. Once again, if the super chat is not your thing, I get it. Hit us up at the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. But overall, feedback is a gift. Definitely want to hear you guys' honest opinions, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some of this TNA action we have tonight. Should be pretty badass. Obviously, this is the fallout from from Emergence that happened on Friday. So I thought that was kind of pretty cool. After you saw the system defeat the likes of Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, and the Hardy Boys, it seems like they're kind of getting back on track here. And JDC is a huge reason why this stable's probably going to work. I could believe that you're probably going to see somebody maybe debut in NXT. I would love to see the system. I want to see Moose challenge Obafemi for that NXT North American Championship. And I want to see, I just want to see these guys do great, because throughout my tenure watching TNA recently, they've been on the top. They've been on the mountaintop. You had Edwards, Alicia Edwards as well. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of talented superstars that I feel like that could do so well in WWE NXT. And, I think it's just a matter of time. I think 1,010%, it's just a matter of time that we're going to see something like this happen. This collaboration between WWE NXT and TNA is, just kicking off. It's just starting off. But overall, the system is a force to be reckoned with, and it's going to be exciting to see what they do tonight on TNA Impact. Next, we have fresh off of a victory at TNA Emergence, and as well as defeating Ash by Elegance, so that's 3 times. Though, the third time was, tag teaming and stuff like that. But she was able to, the TNA Knockouts World Champion teamed up with Spitfire and destroyed Ash by Elegance, Alicia Edwards, and Masha Slamovich. I watched highlights of this match. I'm not going to lie to you. I watched highlights of this match. And I thought overall it was great. It was super great. She's going to have an open challenge tonight. Also next week on NXT, on WWE Week on the USA Network. She's also going to have an open challenge on NXT next Tuesday. So that should be pretty darn interesting. We actually have a segment about that moving forward. But it's I love Jordynne Grace. I love how she's a champion. She's probably the best in women's wrestling right now. But maybe a little under the credit a little bit here. But overall, I think it's great. I think she's doing great. All right, next we will hear from the new X Division champion, Zachary Wentz, last Tuesday on NXT. You saw him and Trey Miguel win a title, an NXT World Tag Team Championship match with Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Moving forward, I think it was the first on the CW. Their first episode that's taking place on October 1st. So this guy's on fire. He defeated Wes Lee. I kind of like that. I kind of love how he defeated Wes Lee at No Mercy. Because Wes Lee, the only argument he really had that he thought was, legible and legitimate as hell is that, dude, you come to WWE to soak up all this attention. You're not a WWE superstar. You're a TNA wrestler. And it's, I thought, it was kind of bad. It was kind of bad. I didn't think that they were going to bring that up, because I think overall the collaboration maybe might suffer from it. But, so far it seems like having that lingering, thought or ideology, however you like to call it, in the minds of TNA fans as well as NXT fans. I think when these guys meet for the Survivor Series, it's going to be awesome. You're going to see the, kind of like you're going to have Raw versus SmackDown, but then you're going to see TNA take on NXT where you have Roxanne Perez, Jordynne Grace gets her hands on her once again. Maybe you see, ABC take on the Rascals. It'd be kind of crazy to be like, the Rascals, you're TNA superstars, but you're representing NXT with their titles. That could happen as well. And I just think it'd be badass. I would freaking love Dolph Ziggler, or Nic Nemeth comes back to WWE after he was kind of treated like crap. He was being talked down to by Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, Jared Briscoe constantly backstage, according to reports, of course. I'm not just making this stuff up. Nic Nemeth taking on Ethan Page, or even maybe somehow, some way, Joe Hendry gets that title, which I feel like they desperately need a champion that's kind of more in your face than Ethan Page. I love kind of how Ethan Page is at this moment, where he's constantly being at the right place at the right time, where he kind of comes in, hands behind his back, and he's like, so Ava, what do you think about that? Like, I mean, he's just this antagonist. He's this jerk that, like, he's always right. And like, I don't know, it's just I think he's doing a great job. But overall, I feel like if WWE wants to expand over the CW network, which isn't really thriving, but for NXT, I feel like that's kind of great. If Raw or SmackDown was like, hey, you're going to the CW, it's kind of like, dude, what did I do? Who did I screw over? Why, like, you know what I mean? But no, overall, I just think it's kind of great. Zachary Wentz is an amazing superstar. I was kind of bummed out that Speedball, Mike Bailey didn't get the victory, because I loved it when he beat Mustafa Ali. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, so next we have Kushida and the Laredo Kid tonight as well, going one-on-one. Two of the hottest TNA X Division stars are going to go at it. Kushida recently returned. And the Laredo Kid, he's been within that X Division for quite some time here. So there's no doubt in my mind that maybe he's going to be able to kind of build up some momentum to challenge Zachary Wentz for that X Division championship. Next, we have Eric Young taking on Jake Something. Something that I love and respect about Eric Young is that he's kind of been with TNA thick and through the bad, through the ugly. So you got to respect that. Moose will tag with JDC against Mike Santana and say his name, man. He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Bah, bah. But no, it's going to be a great match. Overall, it's going to be an amazing match. Can't wait to see it. And all right, moving on to Ring of Honor. We have a one-on-one match between Katsuyori Shibata and the premier athletes Josh Woods. I love Shibata. Shibata is an amazing superstar. You kind of have him, in this mix between Taz, Hook, and also, Samoa Joe's, he's been written off. He's filming Twisted Metal 2, Season 2, where he's, oh my God, I keep forgetting his character name. Damn it. Oh my God. Sure. When I think, randomly it'll pop up and be like, oh my God, crazy. But it should be a good match. Katsuyori Shibata is definitely one of the most, promising wrestlers, that New Japan Professional Wrestling's ever really had. Kind of reminds me of like this, kind of like a young Kazuchika. Well, not really young, because he's, I feel like he's going to get a shot. He's going to get a shot as, he's a former peer champion. So I definitely think he's gonna, kill it. He's gonna do well. Loera Loca, Tyra Valkyrie versus Rev Pro, undisputed British Women's Champion Mina Shirakawa. I'm all in with Mina Shirakawa. I think she's great. 1,010%. She's definitely one of my favorite superstars on AEW, because she's just so damn unpredictable. She's like that. She could be a babyface. Oh my God, she could be a babyface. She can just, bat those eyes at you, and you'd be like, oh my God, like, and then she can all of a sudden stab someone in the back, and you're like, holy shit, holy crap, I like this as well. But overall, I feel like it's great for Mina Shirakawa. This match is going to be great. She's definitely going to continue this dominance. Next, we have a tag team bout. We have the Spanish announced Project Angelico and Serpentico going up against the Iron Savages, Bronson and Boulder. Bronson and Boulder, I really haven't seen much of a... Kind of reminds me of Heavy Machinery, where they're too damn big and too damn, like, forceful to be like, look, like, kind of like where you see WWE and Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, when Keith Lee was doing his thing, when the Big Show was back in the WWF Attitude Era. Some of these guys are too big and so dominant to be like, can these guys really have a good match? But overall, I think they do. So I think this match is going to be great. Next, we have a one-on-one. Aaron Solo takes on Rocky Romero tonight on Ring of Honor. Kuhan Angelo Parker takes on Griff Garrison tonight as well. Also, we have a full card. Nick Camarado take on Big Shot Lee Johnson. Fuego de Sol will take on Dark Order John Silver. Lance Archer and the Righteous are going to be in trios combat. Abaddon in action, Anthony Henry and Beef in tag team competition. Premier athletes Arya Davari and Tony Nese is also in action. Rachel Ellinger hopes to bounce back from her loss against Mina Shirakawa last week. And it's just, so much more Ring of Honor. So make sure, on, I think it's Honor Club TV. I don't want to be wrong. But I think they have a YouTube thing as well you can sign into. But it's great. Ring of Honor right now is on fire. So, definitely go check that out. All right, next we're going to talk about Jordynne Grace's overall NXT. No, wait, no, I was going to say, wasn't that my fourth segment? Jumping the gun here. I'm leaving you guys, little breadcrumbs, giving you guys cliffhangers. So make sure you stay tuned for segment 4. Segment 3, though, we're going to talk about TNA Emergence. I'm going to give you my reaction as soon as we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here. All your cool wrestling factoids of the week, also the weekend. We talked about a lot of drama behind the curtain as well. Superstar news, injury updates, inactivity statuses, and, contract negotiations from promotions from AEW, WWE, the NWA. If it makes major news wrestling headlines, we talk about it here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our AEW Dynamite review. We had my Thursday Night Wrestling preview, Ring of Honor TNA. And now we're going to talk about some TNA Emergence overall. So let's go ahead and dig on into that. But of course, always, if you're feeling generous, if you have a burning question or an opinion you just want to make live, here at the GSMC Sports Network, especially on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, we are all ears, 1,010%. We want to hear from you guys. I love hearing from you guys. This podcast is overall, GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, but for me, it's like a we podcast. It's exactly what wrestling fans like to hear. A lot of back and forth banter, kind of created throughout this, kind of platform I have here. So overall, 1,010% blessed to kind of, having to be able to kind of promote it to you guys. But yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to TNA Emergence. Overall, I watched highlights of it because I, can't really be buying every single pay-per-view. I'm just kidding, no. But I thought it was great. I thought it was a great pay-per-view for TNA. With the success of Slammiversary, I feel like, it's sky's the limit. The sky's the limit right now with Impact Wrestling TNA. And I think a lot of people kind of have TNA kind of hidden under the radar, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense. But they're underrated. They are underrated, but then they're not yet overrated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like right in that middle where, TNA, if you're a wrestling fan, and if you look at it, and if you kind of see this facade of not empty arenas, but crowd of like 1,000 people, you kind of be like, dude, this is a trash wrestling show. But in reality, it's not. It's very good. It's very good. Sometimes people mistake quality for quantity, and quantity for quality. Like, for example, where you see a lot of, WWE fans that pack stadiums. That sometimes it just doesn't really add up to the hype. TNA's the opposite of that. They're able to kind of give you more bang for their buck, kind of, so to speak. So let's go ahead and talk about some Emergence tonight. All right. So we had Frankie Kazarian defeat Kushida, which, I I love Frankie Kazarian. I think right now, like with his storyline, I've kind of compared him to kind of like a Randy Orton, where he kind of goes out there and kind of does his own thing. He doesn't give two craps about if you care about it. He doesn't care if you're sad. He doesn't care what he does makes you angry. Overall, he just kind of goes up there to get his own. That's that's like Randy Orton to a T right there. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of people think that he's definitely gonna be coming back for another heel turn. I kind of read a lot of reports on that in WWE. But overall, like, it's just Frankie Kazarian, he's definitely on the top, heading toward, and on TNA, definitely one of the superstars of the future. I love his feud between him and Joe Hendry. So yeah, 1,010%. I think Frankie Kazarian's gonna keep killing it. All right, next you had PCO was supposed to take on Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona has not yet been cleared by TNA doctors to compete yet. He was able to pick up the victory against the TNA Digital Media Champion, International Heavyweight Champion. PCO defeated Matt Cardona's Mystery Monster, the Indian Lion Shira. And after you saw Stephanie Lander, she was proud of her husband. It was kind of cool, but overall, I feel like it's a little manipulative. I feel like when PCO takes on Matt Cardona for that championship belt, you're going to see a huge betrayal. And it's going to be heartbreaking. All the hearts are going to break all around the world. But I, definitely think that's kind of heading toward the future there. Next, we have the X Division Championship match. Zachary Wentz defeated Mike Bailey, Hammerstone, Jason Hotch, Riley Osborne, and the Laredo Kid. Like I said before, I love this booking for Zachary Wentz. He's a very talented, tag team superstar. But also, like, just because you're a tag team superstar doesn't necessarily mean you can't really dabble in singles wrestling competition. But for me, I feel like that's the opposite. Singles superstars can't create a tag team to win the tag team titles. Other than that, like, you can't really go backwards. Kind of like when you saw Kofi Kingston win, and it was Kofi Mania. When the New Day had the belt, like, it was cool. When you recently saw Roman Reigns with the Tribal Chief, with the bloodline. That was cool. Like, and you don't always have to, just because somebody from a tag team wants to pursue a little smidge in terms of a promotional, singles wrestling bout. You don't have to break them apart. You don't have to do anything like that. This could have been, I feel like in early WWE, this would have been a huge reason for Zachary Wentz to turn on Trey Miguel. And it's, obviously that's not where it's going, which I'm so freaking proud of that fact. But Zachary Wentz is definitely one of the most talented superstars on the TNA roster. I feel like he's only going to get better. I'm going to love, his match, against Nathan Frazier and Axiom on the CW for those NXT tag team titles. Bringing them to TNA would be great. I feel like breaking that fourth wall at this time is absolutely 1,010% necessary. And, I hope for the best for these guys, because they're great. They're great. Zachary Wentz is indeed very, very great. All right. So next we had, Steve Macklin taking on Eric Young, throwing a lot of credit toward Eric Young. I love Eric Young in TNA because he kind of stuck in the, he's been in and out of the wrestling promotion. He's been with WWE with the whole Sanity or whatever. And then he made it to TNA. He started with TNA as like this kind of, frail, kind of this, pushover, kind of this guy who really doesn't really know how to like handle the match. So Eric Young, the way he's kind of been, kind of stepping up, although he did lose against Steve Macklin, which kind of sucked. I feel like Eric Young, but then Eric Young, like, he's at that spot in his relationship, kind of like where you see like WWE's Bailey, where, you're still there and you definitely still have a lot to prove. You have still a lot left in the tank, but right now you kind of think about a lot of the younger talents that like, you look, kind of, what can I do? What can I do to kind of put these people over? You know, a lot of the times the wrestling industry is a cutthroat industry, but overall, all these guys help each other. All, you know, they're there for each other. These guys go on the road 365 freaking days of the year. You know, so if you're making enemies, it's not going to make that travel any better. So, you know, definitely love and respect Eric Young. And I'm not just saying that because his name's Eric. Definitely not. Maybe. I'm just kidding. Next, you saw Jordynne Grace, the TNA Knockouts World Champion, team up with Spitfire to defeat Alicia Edwards, Masha Slamovich, and also Ash by Elegance. I feel like Spitfire is a better fit for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship, but that's just my opinion. Jordynne Grace once again proves why she's so amazing, why she's definitely the best women's wrestler in professional wrestling right now. But I don't know. With this match, kind of the third match between Ash and Jordynne. They fought each other twice already head to head. It was a great battle. I want to see these guys one more time. I want to see these girls go at it one more time. You have Bound for Glory coming up, which is one of TNA's biggest events of the year. Imagine, you know, like a main event. Sorry, excuse me. Imagine a main event. Jordynne Grace takes on Ash by Elegance. And I don't know, I feel like it'd be badass. I would love to see that. Next, the TNA World Tag Team Champions, ABC defeats AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. Obviously, you're not really going to be seeing Rich Swann anywhere near TNA. Not going to get too crazy into it, but, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I feel like it kind of overall, you know, it caused a lot of what Casey Navarro wanted to do in his, you know, kind of his bookings and his character development. Gonna have to step it up because Rich Swann was able to kind of be that antagonistic guy to be able to kind of piss off the opponents. AJ Francis was kind of like the finisher. So it's going to be interesting to see how his character is portrayed moving forward because they're like, look, we just lost Swann. Now we need somebody to kind of be that guy. So I don't know. It should be interesting. 1,010%. Can't wait to see what happens with this, you know, moving forward. All right, next you had the System the System defeats the Hardy Boys, Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. Kind of came as a shock, you know, that leaves Joe Hendry dealing with, you know, 2 losses recently. So, I don't think this is over between the System and the Hardys. Joe Hendry, you know, he's kind of right now, people love him on NXT. I don't think he has a booking next week. But it'd be kind of cool to kind of see him come back. But I think he's going to try to focus a little bit more on TNA and eventually make his way back against, you know, to take on the NXT World Heavyweight Champion in the future. But, you know, it was an impressive win by System, something that they needed to do to get back on track. But overall, it was a good win. It was a good win. Obviously, you know how they kind of win, but, you know. The TNA World Heavyweight Championship match between Nic Nemeth and Josh Alexander in an Iron Man match. Not best 2 out of 3 files. Nic Nemeth was 2 up. He was up 2-0. 15 minutes came by. Josh Alexander hit consecutive pile drivers 4, 1, 2, 3. Another 1, 2, 3. Wanted to get that third 1, 2, 3, but was not able to. And then with I think they said about like 5 minutes left to 8 minutes. I'm not too no. I know that's way too light. But Nic Nemeth was able to pick up the victory 3-2 in the Iron Man match. And he was confronted by JBL after the match, which was, you know, surprising, not really surprising because this whole collaboration between WWE and, you know, TNA, maybe he was there to talk about, you know, he was there to talk to Nic Nemeth about, hey, like, you know, definitely think about coming back to WWE. You know what I mean? Like, be portrayed in this collaboration because overall I feel like it'd be great for your career, you know, on TNA. It'd be good for your standings with WWE. And I don't know, I just overall it was good. It was, you know, Emergence was pretty badass. Don't really have any negative things to say about it. TNA, you know, had back-to-back, had some pretty good pay-per-views. So you know, yeah, can't wait to see more of TNA wrestling. Impact. All right, a fourth segment, we're going to talk about Jordynne Grace's Open NXT Challenge. She recently said on social media that she's going to show up NXT next week during WWE Week on the USA Network to hold an open challenge for any WWE star. Well, she said NXT star, but, you know, it's, you know, a lot of WWE stars dabble on into, you know, NXT just to kind of get their foot in the door. So, yeah, we're going to get on into that. So, you know, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 20 seconds.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling and all the action inside and outside of the ring. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our AEW Dynamite review. We also talked about our, my Thursday night wrestling preview in Ring of Honor TNA. And we talked about we talked about TNA Emergence. So now we're going to talk about, Jordynne Grace, the TNA Knockouts, so world champion issues, an open challenge on social media to be, kind of be answered on NXT during WWE week on the USA Network. So I can't wait to kind of dive into that. So yeah, let's go ahead and, do some Jordynne Grace diving on in. All right. So obviously Jordynne Grace is amazing. Definitely one of the most, prominent superstars in TNA right now. Not really much of a surprise there. She's recently, she's been dominant. She's so dominant. On social media as well. Kind of hitting that little, dropping little Easter eggs here and there. The fans are absolutely enjoying this collaboration between WWE and TNA. I tell you that much, 1,010%. She's definitely, she's and it's not like she's just, it's not like she's made it to NXT and she's, kind of just like this person. Oh, they're just kind of giving her it because she's from TNA or whatever. She's beaten people like Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame is pretty damn impressive. She's a rising star in WWE NXT. She's also defeated the likes of Tatum Paxley as well. Also, she's defeated not defeated, but she might as well because Ash by Elegance and the Tatum Paxley distraction. She was this close to dethroning Roxanne Perez during her second NXT World Women's Championship title run. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but I don't know. But a couple of people that might actually, I could, see announce, kind of come out here and announce that they're, I want to fight. I want a chance at the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Got to start off with Jada Parker. Jada Parker is definitely one of the right now, as of right now, one of the greatest superstars on the not TNA, on the NXT roster right now. But she recently lost against Roxanne Perez. That's why it's kind of leaving me like but what like I mentioned in my segment about everything that happened on NXT No Mercy is that you kind of saw Jada Parker kind of slow down because of Roxanne Perez's kind of her physicality, kind of the way she is. Like she's a little on the short side. Nothing wrong with that. Not hating on it, but it seems like she was kind of pandering to her a little bit. Obviously, she'd be a great fit for somebody like Jordynne Grace, two powerhouses going at each other 1,010%. I feel like that'd be pretty badass. Next, we have Natalya. Natalya has mentioned on social media before that, she wants to kick open that open door and fight Jordynne Grace. So, kind of, for things to come full circle, maybe possibly this could be one of the most likeliest of scenarios. For me, I feel like, I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be, I give it like 60% because obviously you have the Queen of Hearts, you have the Heart Foundation right there that's being represented with Natalya Neidhart, but definitely still up in the air. Next we have Lyra Valkyria return to WWE NXT to help her friend after Tatum Paxley got beat down by Wendy Chu and TNA star Rosemary. I think this is I love Lyra Valkyria when she made her a WWE main roster debut, but I like it, but then I kind of hate it because I feel like she kind of had all this momentum, and now she's been on Raw in promos where she's getting her butt kicked. She's coming out to help, Zelina Vega and other women superstars against this Pure Fusion collective, stronghold. But if Lyra Valkyria stepped into the ring to do absolutely anything, I would tune in because she's talented as hell, and she's just overall she's a great watch. She's a great watch. Next, we have JC Jane. One of the examples that I really honestly don't hope that happens. I want to see whoever answers Jordynne Grace's challenge. I want to see a slugfest. I could imagine JC Jane comes out with her new crew and be like, "Oh, I'm the best. I can beat these girls. You're TNA. You're below me." But I don't want to see that. I want to see this match to be a shocker. I want to see this match to be something that, a lot of WWE NXT fans are like, damn, this is freaking cool. I'm down into this collaboration as well. So, I definitely think 1,010% that JC Jane could possibly be the one to answer Jordynne Grace's challenge. But like I said, I wouldn't be really too great about it. Lola Vice, I love Lola Vice, but I would not want to see Lola Vice challenge, Jordynne Grace because I feel like that would just be an easy dub for Jordynne. Just kidding. No, but I love where Lola Vice, where she came from, her story. But I kind of want to see. I just want to see something big. I just want to see someone big, And Lola Vice, she's big, but I don't know. And also returning superstars that could possibly make an imprint. Maybe Asuka. Oh my God! If you hear Asuka's music come out, everything it's gonna erupt. It's gonna go absolute bonkers. And I feel like Jordynne Grace, in and herself, would love to fight an international successful superstar like Asuka. So I don't know. It's a lot of possibilities. I feel like this could be the start of a lot more of TNA knockouts and the NXT women's division kind of coming together more. But I don't know. I think it's kind of great. Jordynne Grace opens opens up the NXT. But like I said, Alexa Bliss, she can come out. Alexa Bliss could 1,010% come out and make sure, make it interesting. Next, we have the returning Charlotte Flair. Maybe she finds a way to kind of fight Jordynne Grace. That would be huge. That would be huge to see Jordynne Grace fight Charlotte Flair. Someone that I don't want to see is Chelsea Green. I don't want to see this match happen again. I don't want to see her, fighting anywhere near the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Not an indictment on Chelsea Green, but she's right now. I don't know. Stephanie Vaquer has been waiting to debut in WWE NXT. So overall, I feel like this would be great. This would be a good match, obviously, but right now, I don't know. Stephanie Vaquer. I feel like I would more or less like to see her in a promo with Roxanne Perez. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And lastly, maybe any of the Pure Fusion Collective superstars come out to challenge Jordynne Grace. Another example of why I probably wouldn't like it at all. Shayna Baszler, she is talented. Also, Zoe Stark, she is talented, but I don't really like it. Also, not Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville. Not really into it. I don't think that's a huge step up for someone to challenge somebody like TNA's Knockouts World Champion, Jordynne Grace. But I don't know. It could, like I said, a lot of possibilities could be, moving forward with WWE NXT. Maybe this could be a way for TNA to kind of absorb some NXT talent as well. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our next segment. We're going to talk about NWA 76th anniversary show. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right. We're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday here at the GSMC Sports Network. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our AEW Dynamite review. We had our, my Thursday night wrestling preview. We also talked about TNA Emergence. We talked about TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace issues an open challenge on NXT. I talked about a couple of superstars that could possibly answer the challenge. Maybe, some people that I really wish will not, and some, returning superstars that could possibly come back with a bang, like Alexa Bliss, maybe like Charlotte Flair, maybe like Asuka. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty badass. I think it would be kind of equate the level of talent that TNA has, kind of lent to the WWE as opposed to, vice versa. Like, you know what I mean? What really has WWE NXT, given TNA really? Charlie Dempsey, like cool. Riley Osborne, yeah, it's cool, but not the best. Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, it's I don't know. I want to see like a bigger name. Obviously, TNA, she's the freaking TNA Knockouts World Champion. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I'm just a complainer. I'm just a complainer. All right, so now we're gonna move on to our fifth and final segment. We're gonna talk about the NWA hosted its 76th. Why did you do that? This its 76th anniversary show. They've been around the professional wrestling circuit for so damn long. It's crazy. It aired on obviously August 31st, 2024 in at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Fourth event under the NWA anniversary chronological or something like that. The NWA is a professional wrestling event that's been, it's on its 50th anniversary. But wait a minute, 676. I think it was as well, kind of with the AWA as well. In 1948, it was founded and it was funded by the NWA. The event has contributed annually until the 2005, and it's since been held periodically from shows from 2008, 18, 2021, 2022. So, it's kind of crazy. October 2nd, 2024 was announced that the NWA 76th anniversary show will take place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, under the new head man, the front man of Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. He owns the thing. But yeah, I thought this was I watched highlights, and when I say I watched highlights, I saw a lot of shorts on YouTube, and I thought it was pretty good. With the NWA, like I'm a wrestling fan, I love, I was born and raised with WWE. And, shows like TNA, shows like the NWA, the MLW, like shows that don't get a lot of attention, shouldn't really necessarily kind of be kicked down. But I don't know. It's some people get so used to like the fabrication of what professional wrestling could possibly be, where you could have a bunch of expensive set looking things, and kind of like where you saw WWE SmackDown on Fox, where you had those holograms take place when on the screen, and it was like sometimes it could be a little bit too much. Myself and I love a little bit of an old-fashioned kind of style, an old-fashioned kind of look. I loved watching WCW because it just looked so raw. It just looked so natural. It looked like you were watching a wrestling segment, and WWE was great. And then, you saw the sets kind of being broken down, and you saw the barricades being changed. Now they have LED boards on their ring, and it's cool and all. It doesn't really bother me that much. I remember when WWE went through this phase where, Armageddon, Backlash, Judgment Day, and it's just like decorations it just looked like, I don't know. For me, it's all about the wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I get the aesthetic beauty of it, but that's one of the reasons why I gotta respect the NWA here. All right, to kind of go through the results a little bit, we saw Soda Pop Hendricks defeat Papa Don by pinfall in a singles match. Sean Carlson defeated the Rockstar in the singles match. Mario Pardua and Steve Boz defeated Fox Vinier. Also, Tim Theory by pinfall as well. Gangs the Gimp defeated Alexander Lev by pinfall as well. Zion and Magic Jake Dumas with Austin Idol defeated Baron Von Storm and Jax Dane by pinfall. Thrillbilly Silas Mason defeated Colby Corino. The Country Gentleman AJ Kazana and Casey Kazana with Joe Kazana defeated Daisy Kill and Talos with Vampiro, which was actually kind of cool because I remember watching Vampiro in WCW. Thought that was pretty badass. Also we saw the girls, the It Girls, Ella Envy and also Miss Star defeated the King Bees, Charity King and Danny B by pinfall. We also saw Jake Cartwheel defeat Alex Misery by pinfall. Natalie Makrova was the last. Won by last being eliminated by Tiffany Nieves by last eliminated. Sorry, excuse me. The Immortals Kratos and Odison defeated Blunt Force Trauma, Carnage, and Damage alongside of Aaron Stevens by pinfall. Mims, the BLKGs, the G's defeated Brian Idol, Burchell, and Carlson Drake by pinfall. Kenzie Page, retained her championship against Maxine Paler, which was pretty good match. You saw highlights of that one. Knox and Murdoch, defeated the Southern, the Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton with Ricky Morton, and Thom Latimer, where it was able to finally dethrone EC3 and be and end the 360 something day reign of EC3. So I thought that was actually pretty awesome. I overall feel I feel how EC3, he's one of those other talents from WWE that kind of made it up to the main roster. Didn't really get to showcase his talent, which ultimately sucked. I hated it. I thought he could have definitely been someone like an Intercontinental champion. He could have been the USA champion. But during the Vince McMahon era, in terms of creativity, like a lot of stars like Keith Lee, Aleister Black, they kind of fell wayside. Andrade as well. They didn't really know what to do with them. And now that he kind of made it to NWA, made the NWA his own, and losing against Thom Latimer, congratulations, Thom. I love it. That's cool. But I don't know. I just feel like EC3 gave so much to this company. I really honestly don't feel like he should have lost. I don't feel like he should have lost the championship. And I know a lot of people be like, oh, if you don't watch the NWA, what do you know about how it does to the bookings and the creative styles and future promotional storylines and stuff like that? You're right. I don't tune into the NWA every week. But the 76 show is a big deal. 76 years is a big deal. 1948 is a big deal. Like I mentioned before, WWF, Jim Crockett Promotions. So that means WCW, ECW, WWF basically took a lot of these guys, took a lot of these superstars. It got to the point where the NWA was like, you know what? Let's partner with someone big. Let's partner with someone big here. They created a wrestling promotion with TNA. It was the TNA National Wrestling Alliance, and they had the NWA World Championship. They had the tag team titles. They also had the United States Championship, and it kind of fell wayside, and it just kind of sucks. And I feel like it was doing great. And then of course Dixie Carter hires Hulk Hogan, and then Eric Bischoff comes in. People want to control their own destiny. No one cares about the entertainment factor. No one cares. For an example, and I'll keep this brief. If you guys are Marvel fans, I don't know if any of you guys are Marvel fans. During the fight scene of Avengers Endgame, where Iron Man, snapped his fingers and he helped everybody, he defeated Thanos. What if, and this is a huge what if in Tony Stark's, creative clause stated that he could do whatever he wanted. He didn't have to lose against someone he didn't want to lose to, or he didn't have to do what he wanted to do. They're like, you know what? I'm going to snap my fingers, but guess what? I'm not going to die. I'm not going to do it. It's just, and you're like, all right, yeah, that's cool and all. But didn't it open up a lot of possibilities for Marvel movies in the future when Tony Stark passed away? And I know this might be a huge, maybe like a kind of like the biggest, weirdest comparison you could possibly make. But sometimes you have to let the creative people do their thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to let writers be writers. These guys are, highly paid executives or not, or not. Maybe they're just some guy that they picked up from the streets and they're like, hey, this is my cousin's, he needs a job. And WWE is like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. And Vince McMahon's like, oh yeah, cheap guy to pay for it. Let's do it. Like it gets to a point where you kind of have to let the screenwriters be the screenwriters. That's what they do. They create creative images, very ethos, pathos, logos, kind of persuasion, rhetoric that could cause fans to fall in love with their product. And if you take that away from them, then essentially you're just kind of looking out for yourself. And that's something that Hulk Hogan did. That's the reason why him signing a 5-year deal, he announced it on the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I'm excited to see what he really has to do. He claims he's going to come back and do something in marketing and he's going to be the ambassador. And it's like, dude, do we really need this guy? I'm not too sure. But overall, the NWA was very successful in the past. Like, definitely like one of those things that, you wish you would have kind of, now that they kind of revamped it, I like the direction it's going, taking baby steps, taking nothing but baby steps. It is on the CW app, so they are on the streaming services. So it's not like their company is, completely dead. But I don't know. It could be better. It could be better. But much like anything in life, you work at it super hard. There's always room for improvement. You know what I mean? At this point, sometimes you're just, never satisfied. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me. Hope you guys loved the podcast. Definitely loved seeing you guys tonight on a beautiful Thursday night football. Just found out the Chiefs defeated the Baltimore Ravens 27-20. Which is, I bet it on the Chiefs, so I thought that was pretty darn cool. Although I did have Lamar Jackson in fantasy, and it wasn't the best, you know what I mean? But overall, thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network, follow Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates in terms of the GSMC Sports Network. And once again, if I have not made you guys a wrestling fan by now, in 20 minutes, we have my boy Amron with the GSMC Soccer Podcast. We have sports and more sports. We got the GSMC Sports Podcast with Jeremy. We have GSMC Sports Podcast with TJ. We got Fantasy Sports with my band Chris Shepard. We got two football podcasts. We got my boy Kenneth with the GSMC Football Podcast, my boy Manny with the Chip Shot Football Podcast, Nelson on basketball. And basketball might be off season, but it's always booming. News is always booming, bro. So, make sure, you stay tuned to their podcast as well. And if you're a huge college football is in full swing. Me, myself, I became recently a Texas Longhorns fan. This is my first year. They killed Colorado State 52-0, and they're playing, I think it's STSU or something like that. I'm not too sure. But I think they're gonna play Michigan in 2 weeks. So I can't wait to, it's like an ultimate test for my fandom of college football. Defending national champions. You know what I mean? Like, should be pretty cool. I can't wait to watch it. So, yeah, honestly, we got a lot of passionate podcasters who absolutely love doing one thing, talking about sports, but also love doing another thing. Definitely love communicating with you guys. Definitely love it when you guys comment on their shows. Definitely makes, our lives, I love it. I love it when I get a chat. I get excited. I feel like I'm on live, I'm just kidding. No, not that I'm kidding. I love it. All right, guys, stay beautiful. Have a beautiful Thursday night, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit.